My name is Dylan Borland, a former 1N1 geospatial intelligence specialist for the United States Air Force in an active duty enlisted capacity from 2010 to 2013. I'm a federal whistleblower, having testified to both the ICIG and ARROW with direct firsthand knowledge of and experience with crafting technologies that are not ours and are reportedly operating without congressional oversight. Because of my direct knowledge of the reality of certain legacy UAP programs, my professional career was deliberately obstructed. During the summer of 2012, my team was on standby for weather and I returned to my barracks on base, and at approximately 0130, I saw an approximately 100-foot equilateral triangle take off from near the NASA hangar on the base.
And they counted between 35 and 40 infant and juvenile Bigfoot prints.
They kept getting run off at night by these big balls of light, these globe balls of light that would basically chase them out if they were there too late. And then one night he was there late, everybody else had left, and he could hear something walking around the dig area, and he could hear something following him. There were enormous wolf tracks that had followed him down. And what's really strange to begin with is there were no wolves back in the 70s, 80s. I mean, even now they're really rare in southern Utah. This wolf had followed him down to his car. It turned and started out through the sagebrush into the desert, and they followed it. It transformed into a barefoot human track and continued on to the desert.
What I can tell you right now is you're telling me things that you can't find on YouTube or you can't find on any books. You have to be a researcher in the field to know certain things that are not out there, and you're hitting all the things that are not out there. I can tell you right now, you're not crazy. And she goes, yeah, you're legit a generational abductee.
In the middle of the woods at the moment.
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with the area. What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the back of my truck!
My name is Jeffrey Nusatelli. I'm a former military police officer with 16 years of active duty service in the U.S. Air Force. I'm here today because the American people have both the right and the responsibility to know the truth about unidentified aerial phenomenon. Between 2003 and 2005, 5 UAP incidents occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base. The incursions began on October 14, 2003, when Boeing contractors reported a massive glowing red square silently hovering over 2 missile defense sites. After several minutes, it drifted further east onto the base and vanished over the hills. When I arrived on scene, I talked to 5 shaken witnesses who described a massive triangular craft larger than a football field that hovered silently for about 45 seconds over their entry control point before shooting away at impossible speed.
Here we are.
Hello, Miss Sara.
Hello, Miss Monica.
How are you? How was your week?
Good. It was pretty good. Had a kind of just a chill last few days. It's been really nice to just kind of get my little soul back again.
Yeah. Being snowed in kind of helps.
Yeah. I'd forgotten how much I miss home. It's kind of nice to be spending some time. All I've done is cook and sit around and eat like a doomsday prepping bear, man.
I did the same thing. I made this. I make this chickpea thing, and I put cashews in it. Chickpeas, cashews, tomatoes, olive oil, garlic, cilantro, lots of spices. It's like kind of a cross between Indian food, like chole, and then also kind of like a little bit of Latin. And anyway, it's like big scoops of it, lots of garlic, and big scoops of it. Put some yogurt on top. So I made a big pot of that, and I also made like I made some Thai coconut noodles, and then yeah.
Yum.
So, lots of resourceful, because the grocery stores got decimated here.
Yeah, they did here too.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Totally funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's two days, people. Like, it's, well, 3, I guess, but not a huge deal.
Yeah, prepping for, I mean, like, there's just so many memes out there that were hilarious this week about Texans buying all the milk and bread. Like, and I made some videos. I walked into the HEB, and this was like almost a week ago, and the grocery store aisles or the shelves were just completely empty. Like, there was nothing. Like, wow, if you didn't shop like 2 weeks ahead, like, you're not getting anything. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know who doesn't shop pretty consistently. Like, what's happening that these people, I don't understand.
I mean, it's literally like 3 or 4 days, and they shopped like they needed food for a month. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get my head around it. It's like, wow, these people are nuts.
Well, yeah, and then they order food delivery, and they want you to walk up their non-iced walks and the dark. Public service announcement: if you order food, turn your light on. My God.
Or maybe like put some salt down or something so that your delivery person doesn't fall on their ass while they're trying to deliver your pizza or whatever.
Even just a little light, man.
The times that I've almost fallen on my butt trying to walk my dog over the past 2.5 days, I mean, kind of comical. Like, and I had my big Colorado shoes on too, and I almost wiped out like so many times. It's nothing but just a sheet of ice.
Right? Colorado shoes.
Yeah.
We know how to dress in this stuff. We're professionals.
I know. Apparently some dude had a car accident in the parking lot of my apartment complex.
Oh, no.
Like, I was just like, I'm not driving in this. Like, I'm just going to sit right here and eat my chickpeas and
your chickpeas
drink my protein shakes and, get on my computer and watch some really cool stuff and chill with my cat. My cat and I have been snuggling, and
nice.
How's Alex?
She's so good. I couldn't even make the bed all the way because she's back there on it. And what am I going to do? Wake her up? I'm not a monster. So
yeah.
She's good. She likes it.
She's enjoying her snuggle time.
She likes having me home a lot.
Yeah, they love it.
Haven't been home a lot. How's your personal training going?
It's going really well. Except that, of course, the storm shut the gym down, so I haven't been able to go. So I did my home workout and trying to stay on top of it. I looked at because I use this app called Heavy. It's HEVY, and it's a little slight plug for them, but it's really cool. I just had the free version, but I look back and it does like all kinds of tracking and stuff. And I have done 20 workouts in January so far.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Good job.
Pretty proud of myself because when you look at the months before, it was like, oh wow, I was exercising like shit.
Yeah,
I wasn't being consistent. So yeah, so my goal is to just be consistent, and whatever happens. But I'm really enjoying my training, so it's going pretty well. Nice. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah,
that's the hardest thing is a consistency. Like, I can start a good habit and stick with it for like 72 hours, but then after that, things get wild. I don't know. I wish I were better at that.
Yeah. And having someone, I think it's the accountability part of personal training. So like when they're in your face and they're telling you, hey, why are you doing this? You're like, I don't know. I'm sorry. Then, yeah, you kind of change because you got to answer to that person when you're back 48 hours later and they're like, how'd it go? And you're like, okay, I have to be accountable to myself. But I think that's the thing is it's kind of like a bridge, like you learning how to be accountable to yourself and caring about yourself. And then you kind of kick it off and take care of it on your own. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. And getting excited. So I have been going down this rabbit hole of watching Bigfoot videos. And this week I found the documentary by Marc Myrsell with the Ape Canyon incident. And it's kind of all over the place. And I was trying to find it like for free. And I did find it for free. I think it was on Vimeo. And so I had to stream it, so I could watch it. So it's definitely free out there. And it was so well done. It was just very well documented. He spent I think he said 25 years researching the Ape Canyon incident. And so he basically just did like a huge deep dive, and then he actually found the cabin. And so that was it was just such a cool story, and an account of all the steps that he took. And apparently this cabin is just in a really, really, really dangerous place in Mount St. Helens region. So that's kind of what I'm gonna go over for my story. What do you have for us this week?
Just cryptids from around the world. I kind of I don't know, I always think that I'll be able to stick to learning about one of them and be able to tell everybody about one, and that's not how my brain works. So I thought I'd just kind of jump in and talk about a few of them, and do a little bit of a deep dive on the Yeti because it's Yeti weather right now for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any excites or disappointments this week?
No. I mean, so I think that the coolest thing that happened to me probably all week, the wolves, the coyotes were out I don't know, 50 to 100 feet away from my apartment, and they're out there playing in the snow, and they're just kind of cute and fun to watch. I don't know, I kind of wanted to go join them.
Yeah.
But I just really enjoyed the snow. I like the quietness of it, how it just kind of quiets your soul, and just it always makes me think of Colorado, just with all the softness of the sound and all the stillness, and it's just very calming. I don't know. I miss home.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. But and other than that, I figured out that my new favorite thing to drink is Diet Coke with a splash of root beer in it. It tastes like all root beer, and it's so good. I love root beer so much. And Culver's has the best root beer.
Wow. Diet
Just in case anybody wanted to know.
Coke with a splash of root beer. I'm actually writing that down.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
It's good.
And when you're near a soda fountain, you can just do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Casey's, I fill up for free at Casey's usually. So
what's Casey's?
Gas station.
Oh, is
gas
that
station with really good pizza?
Ah, have you been into Buc-ee's? Everybody's talking about Buc-ee's.
I've been into Buc-ee's once. Yeah, my mom took me in there when we went on our last cruise, and yeah, it was cool. I could have spent some time in there, but I don't know. I'm not a big shopper too much, but it was really cool just how they have all the Buc-ee's stuff.
Yeah,
cool idea.
I have never been into a Buc-ee's, and it's kind of on my list, and I hear that it's kind of an experience. Maybe it's like the IKEA of the gas stations.
Kind of, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Trying to think if I had any excites or frights. I think the frights this week was mostly just the dread and the fear of driving anywhere, and that doesn't normally get me because I love to drive. I actually love to drive.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like my opportunity to listen to audiobooks or podcasts or whatever. So I kind of really enjoy that time. But this week I had no desire once the ice came. Nope. And my frustration, I think this week was, so everyone was talking about, we're going to lose power and all this stuff. We're going to lose internet. and, be prepared. And of course, I have like all of my camping equipment, but most of it's like back in Colorado. And so I have some basic stuff that I have. So I went on this mission on Friday to go try to get a propane stove, because if I can't make my coffee, I'm going to be really cranky. So I thought, okay, I just want a propane stove, like basic, got it. I must have gone to like 4 sporting goods stores, and of course Walmart, H-E-B, that sort of stuff. Nobody, it was just getting so frustrating looking for this. And I went into this one sporting goods store, it was kind of like a Bass Pro Shop, but it wasn't, a different name. And they had this really cool butane stove. And I thought, oh, this is cool. This is perfect. Of course, no butane. And then another store had propane. Yeah, I went into like Dick's Sporting Good, and then they had propane. So I bought propane because I thought, well, I'll always use propane, even if I left it all back in my storage unit. But so I grabbed that, but then I couldn't find a stove. And then I ended up making this is the Girl Scout in me. I ended up making a temporary stove because the grocery store had those sterno cans. So I bought a 4-pack of those, a foil pan, and a grate to go on top. And I thought, all right, if push comes to shove, I can at least like heat up some food or make coffee on this, But it was super frustrating, and also just a lesson, like always be prepared, because
you never know.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with, I sometimes feel guilty because I carry so much stuff around in my car, but or in my purse. I have one of those Mary Poppins bags. You're like, oh, I need a tape measure, I need a level, I need a Sharpie, Band-Aid, some Imodium.
Oh my gosh.
I
celery.
Sometimes, yeah.
Celery.
But I'm always prepared, though. I think there's something to be said about that.
2 pairs of flip-flops, orange socks, and a sterno butane, or like a butane stove. You need to, like, if you could just put all that in your bag,
yeah,
you'd be golden. Yeah. Yeah. So that was frustrating for me, just trying to, and then I was just kicking myself, like, why don't I have all this stuff with me? Well, it's because I moved and I had to leave everything behind, and so I'm just kind of like winging it, but so as soon as all this crap is over and I can get stocked up, I'm gonna get some of my supplies back together. But it was frustrating. It's always frustrating. Like, I know I have all this stuff. It's all, I just don't have it with me, and it's frustrating because I need it, and now I got to go buy it. And I think that's the hardest part about not being settled into your real home and where you're going to be, like, because, you don't have your things. So
yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So that was my frustration this week. Looking forward to my shooting class this coming weekend. That's going to happen. Hopefully the weather will warm up, but pretty sure down where I'm going to go take it, the weather's been nice. So
good.
Or it hasn't been.
Where are you going to do that?
It's near Houston.
Yeah.
So it's kind of out in the country. But I checked, it's much, they didn't get the weather that we got here in the hill country. So
yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, the weather's been wild. Like 50 degrees down to -12 wind chill in 12 hours or whatever it is. It's just, I don't know, something's not right about that.
Yeah. It's supposed to be super cold here tonight too, and then it's supposed to gradually warm up. So ready for it to melt.
Yeah.
I can't ski down
long days.
Can't ski on that grit.
I miss snowboarding so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, all right. Should we kick it off? Do you want to, should I go first, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So mine's going to be jumping around a little bit here, but I wanted to mention the name of the documentary. Let me pull this up. I got dueling computer screens here. So this out.
What, we like the long silences.
I know, right? At least on the long silence on the audio track, I can see, like, oh, okay, there's a big yeah. Guess I won't be editing that part. Jesus, what the fuck is it? Yeah, okay. So it's called The Siege. Okay, so anyway, the documentary is called The Siege of Ape Canyon. Directed by Eli Watson and Marc Myrsell. These are the I'm pretty sure Seth Breedlove and his crew were involved in it. I think, yeah, maybe not. Anyway, I mean, it was a pretty well done documentary, and a lot of people contributed to it. Cliff Barackman was in it. They had a lot of interviews. His wife was just adorable. Marc Myrsell's wife was in there. She had a good part in it, and to tell the story of how he went and found the actual cabin of Fred Beck. So to start off, I think what I'm going to do is kind of tell a little bit of the history of Mount St. Helens, and yeah, just to kind of set the backdrop a little bit. First of all, I want to mention the book that Fred Beck wrote, but actually it was his son that wrote it, Ronald Beck. He wrote it in 1967, and it was about Fred Beck's encounter in 1924 at the foot of Mount St. Helens in a very, very remote area. They had a mining claim, and so this was in a very, very dangerous and remote area that they would go up to only in good weather. They couldn't maintain year-round mining because it was just so steep and treacherous to get there, because you had to go through like these lava beds to get up there. So it was it wasn't exactly the most ideal location, and how they found it, like, who knows, but they had a mining claim up there with a few other guys. So I'll talk about that story, but I wanted to kind of set the scene of Mount St. Helens, because it's a very beautiful area. I've never been there. Hang on, let me pull up the map. I was going to show this to you, but basically, well, Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, and a lot of us remember that. And then when you look at the pictures of what Mount St. Helens looked like before, it's just drastically different.
Yeah.
It was a violent eruption. And it sent, dust and debris in the air for months all across the world. It was huge.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it as a kid, and
do you?
I remember ash falling on us, and we were in Illinois, and I remember like getting ash. Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
But a few little statistics about what happened. So 57 people were killed. There were 250 homes, 47 bridges, 15 miles of railways, and 185 miles of highway were destroyed in the eruption. A massive debris avalanche that was triggered by an earthquake measuring 5.1 on the Richter scale caused an eruption that reduced the elevation of the mountain summit from 9,677 feet to 8,363 feet, leaving a 1 mile wide horseshoe-shaped crater. The debris that the avalanche left was up to 0.7 cubic miles in volume, so it was just massive. And then later on, the Mount St. Helens National Volcanic Monument was created to preserve the volcano and allow for the eruption's aftermath to be scientifically studied. So, and then this article that I'm reading from is actually from the National Park Service. And they said that as with most other volcanoes in the Cascade Range, Mount St. Helens is a large eruptive cone consisting of lava rock interlayered with ash, pumice, and other deposits. The mountain includes layers of basalt and andesite through which several domes of lava have erupted, and the largest of the domes formed the previous summit and off its northern flank set the smaller Goat Rocks dome. So both were destroyed in the 1980 eruption. And then a few weeks later, the scientists that measured the lava dome, they figured that it rose about 5 meters a day, probably preparing for the next big blast. So it's just crazy. And I'm sure you remember hearing about this like in all of your geology studies, but yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. And mostly it's a very dangerous area. And I think it's from the lava flows that, in that whole area of the base of it, it's just treacherous, it's steep, it's sharp. If you fall, you're probably not going to make it. It's not a good place to go hiking around. So the fact that sharp. Yeah. And so that was in 1980. But so when these guys were out here in this mining claim in the 1920s, obviously it was before the eruption, but the mountain itself was still very steep, very treacherous. Like none of, it's always been that kind of an area. Not a place that you take lightly when you go out in the woods.
Mhm.
And then I have this map that's pretty cool that I found from the National Forest Service, and it's really interesting. And I can post it in the show notes or on our Patreon page, but it's really interesting because it kind of shows that where Ape Canyon is of the incident. It's in the south, I want to say the southeast side of the volcanic monument. And I'll just post that. I'll probably just post that on the Patreon. Might be easiest. I also did find, which was really interesting, I found a free copy of Fred Beck's book written by Ronald Beck for a free download. When I say it's a book, it's really just more like a pamphlet. It's not even like an old chapbook. It's not even that big. So the PDF download that I found for free, it's a definite read. If you're into Bigfoot, you should definitely read the story. Although I will say what Marc Myrsell did discover was there was a little bit of a controversy with a hoax, and he pretty much disproved the hoax. And we'll get into that. But he also kind of threw shade on the book that his son wrote because it wasn't exactly 100% his words. It was interpreted by his son, and so it was embellished. It was kind of hyped up a little bit. So where the most impressive evidence he found was from the articles that were published in the 1920s immediately after their encounter, and not necessarily from the book that Ronald Beck wrote about his father's encounter. So when reading the book, which is very short, I don't even know how many words it is, like maybe less than 1,000 words. It's pretty short. But yeah, just definitely take it with knowing that it's been kind of embellished a little bit. I mean, the general facts of it were true, but his son was, he felt like he was providing an interpretation based on Fred, and Fred was kind of a mystical guy. In later years, he got into the whole spiritualism. He would hold seances, and his friends and his acquaintances knew him as, I don't want to say like a medium, but he really got into the spiritualism of the early 1900s, and that was pretty popular back then. But I thought that was interesting. So I think maybe the book that Ronald wrote was definitely heavily tainted by his persona of his father and not necessarily of the actual incident that might have happened.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. All right. So let's see. And then I mentioned the name of his book, right? It's I Fought the Ape Men of Mount St. Helens. One second. All right. So the Ape Canyon incident of 1924 remains one of the most enduring and controversial episodes of the Pacific Northwest folklore, often retold as a dramatic confrontation between miners and ape men, or alleged ape men. The event has been re-examined in recent years thanks to the extensive historical and field research conducted by Marc Myrsell, a land surveyor by trade and independent investigator who has spent more than a decade, actually I think it's more like 20 years, reconstructing the facts behind the legend. So this is kind of what happened. In July 1924, 5 miners, Fred Beck, Marion Smith, Roy Smith, Gabe Lefebvre, not sure if I pronounced that name right, and John Peterson were working on a remote gold claim on the southeastern flank of Mount St. Helens. Their cabin sat on a narrow ledge above a deep gorge later known as Ape Canyon. The area was extremely isolated, accessible only by rugged trails and surrounded by dense forests. According to contemporary newspaper accounts and later interviews, the men had been experiencing unusual activity around their claim for several days. They reported large, human-like tracks, strange calls echoing through the forest, and a persistent sense of being watched. These details would later become central to the story's mythology. The turning point occurred when Marion Smith reportedly fired at a large upright creature earlier in the day, something the men described as covered in hair and walking on two legs. That evening, after nightfall, the cabin was struck repeatedly by rocks. Heavy thuds hit the walls and roof, and the miners claimed that several figures attempted to break through the structure, at one point reaching a hand into a window to try to grab, I think it was a gun, and that point was made clear in the documentary by Marc. The men fired their rifles throughout the night, believing they were defending themselves from multiple attackers. The event, according to their testimony, lasted until dawn. At first light, the group abandoned the cabin, fled the canyon, later reporting the incident to the U.S. Forest Service and local newspapers. The story quickly spread across the country, appearing in publications such as the Oregonian and the Longview Daily News. The early articles helped cement the incident as a foundational Bigfoot narrative long before the creature became a mainstream cultural figure. And then we jump to Marc Myrsell's investigation. Nearly a century later, researcher Marc Myrsell undertook a comprehensive reinvestigation of the incident. Motivated by childhood fascination and professional expertise in land surveying, Myrsell began examining the historical record around 2009. His work included collecting and analyzing original newspaper reports, interviewing descendants of the miners, reviewing Forest Service documents, and then studying early 20th century survey maps. And then he also conducted extensive field work in the Mount St. Helens region. He was out in the field, walking it and looking. And I will say that the areas where they finally found the cabin, like, you can't get there unless you rappel. It's to get there without ropes he did it. He actually did it like 3 times before he brought help. And the fact that he did it on his own is absolutely insane. Yeah. In fact, his wife was like, you need to bring somebody because this is getting a little sketchy. So his wife was looking out for him. So one of Myrsell's most significant contributions was the rediscovery of the original cabin site. Long believed to have been destroyed or buried by the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens, the location had remained elusive for decades. In 2013, after years of research and on-the-ground exploration, Myrsell identified the remains of the cabin and the entrance to the miners' claim. The discovery confirmed that the cabin's placement, perched on a cliff edge, matched the descriptions given in 1924. And they also had photographic evidence also. This geographical context helps explain several aspects of the story. Rocks thrown from above would have been easy to launch onto the cabin roof. The steep canyon walls could amplify echoes, making it sound as though multiple attackers were present. And the isolation of the site also meant that any nighttime disturbance would have been magnified by fear. So there are several interpretations. Myrsell's research does not attempt to prove or disprove the existence of unknown creatures. Instead, it focuses on reconstructing what the miners actually reported and what the physical evidence supports. Several theories were plausible. Human involvement, rival prospectors, or local use could have harassed the miners. And there's this whole theory about a whole Boy Scout troop claiming that they were hoaxing, but that is, I have a little bit of information on that, and it's clearly 40 years off. So the story got complicated. Natural causes, rockfall, or wildlife activity may have been misinterpreted under stress, but that doesn't explain that they had visual sightings of the creature multiple times and took shots at him and fired round after round after round into them. And I'm not sure if they found the gunshot rounds, the shotgun shells, I'm not sure. Or the casings, it might have been a rifle, I'm not sure. Folkloric influence, indigenous stories of mountain devils were well known in the region and may have shaped the miners' interpretation. Myrsell's work emphasizes documentation over speculation, grounding the legend in verifiable historical context while acknowledging the unanswered questions that keep the story alive. The Ape Canyon incident remains one of the most cited events in Bigfoot lore. Its blend of wilderness isolation, testimony, mystery has inspired books, documentaries, and countless retellings. Thanks to Marc Myrsell's research, the story now has a clear historical foundation, transforming it from a campfire tale into a well-documented piece of Pacific Northwest history. just the story itself, it just blows my mind. Like, this was quite possibly not the original Bigfoot story, because the word Bigfoot wasn't even around then. It was wild man or ape creature, because, you know, that was well before the 60s. You know, this was a very historical account that started setting the narrative of people that were going out and looking for these creatures even before, you know, the tracks were found.
Right.
You know, yeah, and way before, you know, Patterson-Gimlin and all that. So I thought this was a really fascinating story to take a look at. I did find I found some sources about the indigenous story, which I thought was really interesting. And then I wanted to talk about the Boy Scouts. Let's see if I could find that. While I'm looking for that, anything that you've heard that, and I just love the way he looks. He's just such a cutie. He kind of looks like a Sasquatch.
You do wear Sasquatch.
He's seen, and apparently everyone that talks about him says that, you know, he's just such a good-hearted soul of a person, you know.
Yeah.
And I love that about him, that that he just brings that authenticity to the story. So I thought that was a really nice, cool thing about it.
Yeah. What year? 80s, right?
So
right after it went off.
1924 was when the incident happened.
Okay.
And and then 1980 was when Mount St. Helens erupted.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then I had this article, I guess maybe I cleared it out, I'm not sure. I had this really interesting article about the indigenous history of Mount St. Helens. Maybe I'll just post that in the show notes. But the Boy Scout, I'll kind of roughly off the top of my head tell you about the Boy Scout incident. So this was actually in the 1960s. I think I want to say it was like 65 or something like that. And this Boy Scout troop was credited with finding Ape Cave, not anything to do with Ape Canyon. And so it was a classic case of two stories that overlapped, and then people who love to scream hoax got mixed up in it, and it just muddied the water of the original story. And clearly it was like 40 years off and in a completely different area of Mount St. Helens. So yeah, I'm gonna look up that article, but that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna post that Boy Scout article that I've related to the story in the notes for listeners to read. So anyway, that was my story for this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm all like concerned about the well-being of the Squatchies when she erupted, you know?
Right?
Like, where did they go? I hope they were okay. Were they able to run that fast, or like pew pew, like open their little portal and shoot into their other?
I truly believe they're pretty capable of handling. Yeah, it's interesting because when you think about volcano eruption or any kind of natural disaster, even when you look at the birds, they know that something's going to happen. They know that things are not right in the environment, or they pick up on things that we don't know, and they prepare. Like, what is it happens when you have like a hurricane coming in? Like, all the birds will leave, all the small animals will start running away, even before, or like a tsunami. So I kind of think that they probably felt it and got out of there. I mean, clearly, because they're still being seen all the time in that area. So
yeah,
probably smarter than us.
I mean, most things are.
Yeah.
One of the coolest videos I've ever seen is of it was right before a big earthquake, and you see a dog like chilling on a couch, and about 15 seconds before the earthquake happens, the dog goes on alert, and he's like,
oh yeah,
and he's looking around. Yeah, pretty cool. They're special, that's for sure. I can actually hear the coyotes outside right now.
Oh really?
Yeah, they're noisy.
I'm looking up this Boy Scout thing. I had a really good article I'd found, but now I can't find it. Yeah, shoot. Oh well. I'll find it. Anyway, what's your story this week?
So I wanted to talk a little bit about a few things. Because I just can't stick to one thing. And first of all, I kind of having this like moral dilemma, if you will, of how we have our cryptids and the paranormal is paranormal, but like, would you consider like a rake or a wendigo or Slender Man or like La Llorona? Would those be considered cryptids as well, or do those lean a little bit more into the ghostly territory? I feel like the rake and Slender Man, Wendigo, those seem more cryptidy to me.
Do you know the story of I think it's the Slender Man. So Slender Man didn't, okay, Jim Harold talks about the concept of the tulpa, where a, a thing comes into the collective conscious and a lot of people start talking about it and then people start seeing it. And that's what Slender Man was. Because Slender Man, I think, was a comic or something like that. I think I'm trying to remember that. But it didn't come into the vernacular until very recently. And then all of a sudden people are having experiences with Slender Man. And so kind of like this trickster element. And
right.
I don't know. Interesting, but I think it's definitely more in the woo side of things, and maybe even not even woo, but also like created by the collective conscious.
Yeah.
And that makes me wonder about like the rake, and because you hear all these stories and people are clearly seeing something, and I'm not doubting their experience, but what are they seeing?
Right.
And it's a physical thing that they're seeing. So what's creating it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I spend a lot of time watching Paranormal Caught on Camera. If you haven't watched it yet, you could. Okay.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Great. It's great. Yeah. Definitely don't watch it like at midnight.
You're not living unless you're scaring the shit out of yourself. It's fun. Yeah, I can't recommend that enough. And I know on my Amazon TV, there's a channel that plays it like most of the time. So I'm very fascinated by that. So but really I kind of just went down
Can I read this really quick? Because I found about Slender Man. Okay, so this is really cool. So Slender Man originated as a fictional character in 2009 from an internet meme and has since evolved into a cultural phenomena inspiring various media and real-life incidents. It was created on June 10th, 2009 by Eric Knudsen, who used the username Victor Surge on the Something Awful forums. The character emerged from a Photoshop contest where users were challenged to create eerie images. Knudsen submitted 2 black and white photographs featuring a tall, faceless figure lurking in the background, accompanied by ominous captions suggesting the figure was involved in mysterious disappearances. This initial creation established Slender Man's core characteristics: extreme height, featureless face, and a dark suit. Following its creation, Slender Man quickly became a viral sensation, spawning a vast array of stories, videos, and artwork across the internet. The character is often depicted as a supernatural entity that stalks, abducts, or traumatizes individuals, particularly children. The mythos expanded through collaborative storytelling, leading to the development of various traits such as the ability to cause memory loss and his preference for wooded areas. See, I've heard that too. The character gained further popularity through the YouTube series Marble Hornets from 2009 to 2014, which presented a found footage style narrative involving Slender Man, significantly broadening his reach beyond text-based forums. And then it inspired video games, which is weird. But then here's the creepy thing. In 2014, Slender Man became associated with a tragic real-life incident when 2 12-year-old girls in Waukesha, Wisconsin stabbed a classmate in an attempt to prove their loyalty to the character. This event sparked widespread media coverage and a moral panic regarding the influence of internet culture on youth behavior. It led to discussions about the nature of fictional characters and their impact on reality, culminating in a documentary Beware the Slender Man. So that was tragic. I remember when that happened, it was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But now it's like people are seeing it, and are we just all losing our minds, or have we created something? So I thought that's like the black-eyed kids thing too.
Yeah.
Black-eyed
That's
kids,
so creepy.
so weird. It's just bizarre.
That's very bizarre. Yeah. Well, and I remember seeing that paranormal caught on camera, so a camera episode of it. And it's like, wait, what? I don't know. People are crazy.
So they caught it on camera.
Somebody thought they did, yeah. To see if I can find that episode.
That's weird. Send it to me.
I will. I will.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah,
I had to read that because I thought, oh, I gotta look this up right now. So
yeah, I find that stuff to be so fascinating, and just the fact that people always have their cameras out now. I love that. That makes me happy. Prove some of this stuff. I want to see it. Let me see it with my own eyeballs. But yeah, so I don't know. I found all these different just cryptids from all over the world, and one that really stood out to me was the dingo neck from Africa, and I just really kind of liked it because it looks like a dragon, but it won't eat elephants. They call it the jungle walrus. I thought that was really just interesting because I guess it does have fangs, but or like big old teeth. But and then of course we have our Yeti up in the Himalayas, orange pendek. That's your Sumatran Bigfoot essentially, and then Yowie, Australian Bigfoot. And then another one that really stood out to me was the Ninjin, and the Ninjin is a humanoid cryptid from Japan, or like maybe even closer down to like the tip of Antarctica. And it's humanoid, but it constantly gets mistaken for like a whale that is floating, or a manta ray or something like that. But it's just really kind of creepy looking. It looks like just a really just like a human shaped blob with black eyes, and I thought that was really creepy. But I wanted to mostly go into the Yeti just because it's Yeti weather. So and the Yeti translates to Yeta, which is, wild man boar, or rock thing. The Lecha people that were native to the area, they also referred to it as a glacier giant. And then that's more of your like Tibetan folklore. But yeah, he hangs out in the Himalayas, and in 326 BCE, Alexander the Great was hearing all these stories and all these tales of, wild men in the woods and sounds coming from the woods. And so he sent his army up there, but his army came back empty-handed. So, this was going on many, many years before we can even comprehend. But then in just in 2019, I think they had another Indian army go up there. Indian army ended up finding some giant tracks. The tracks were like 35 by 12. So they were really pretty huge. And then just sightings and tracks have been found by both research crews and just various explorers. Sir Edmund Hillary, he was one of the first people that ever hiked Mount Everest. He ended up finding a really, really cool print, I think back in the 50s. So lots of prints being found. They say that the Sherpas have a lot of really good stories. So that could be something that is like a total deep dive on just going into Sherpa stories about the Yeti. And it's interesting because when I was looking through all this stuff, I felt like folklore had a little bit different of a view of Yeti than the religious side of it did. Folklore kind of referred to him as being just a giant, man-eating beast, really pretty violent. But with the religious side of it, they kind of viewed him more as being a god of the wilderness and the people, or the keeper of the animals in the forest. And I really kind of like that perspective a little bit better. I feel like, it just would make sense to me that they live in harmony with the other animals in the forest and in their areas. We don't hear a lot of stories about just, animals crossing with a Yeti and the Yeti killing the animal. So I like the theory of him just having a chill disposition, and he's like a big guy, so he or she, so they're going to be taking care of like the smaller animals in the forest. I like that a lot. But yeah, I do definitely want to dig into Sherpa stories. I think that would be really pretty cool.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Did you find any resources on that? Any local like news articles or anything?
I ended up watching a few different like YouTube videos about it and then just kind of bumbled around on some sites last night. I do really like Cryptid Wiki. Cryptid Wiki has some really awesome information on it. So that's probably where I pulled most of this from. And then I also listened to a podcast about it, which I think, oh, and another thing I thought was interesting is that they're not white. It's kind of a common misconception that the Yeti is white. Like Abominable Snowman, you've got like Disney version of the Abominable Snowman.
Like the snow.
Yeah. But they're not white. They do tend to be like darker reddish brown, black.
Oh,
so
it might be more like more like the orangutan, which is red.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
what was
and
the
then
name of the documentary?
I watched a couple of videos. So, the History Channel has a really long documentary, like hour and a half or something. And then they also have a short video on it. It's The Yeti, Myth or Deadly Predator. History's Greatest Mysteries. So, and I think that was maybe the first place I saw that. I love anything the History Channel. It's really, I feel like it's a really pretty awesome source for anything. And then I also listened to a podcast. I can't remember. I listened to this podcast recently, and I don't remember what the topic was, but it was not Bigfoot. This time it was Bigfoot, and the podcast is You're Wrong About, and it's with Sara Marshall. And she has just a guest speaker on there who knows a little bit more about it. And I just really like the laid back, easygoing of her podcast. It's really pretty good. So I would recommend that as well. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And then I also kind of went down a rabbit hole about something else. So you'd asked me a couple weeks ago about the history of Wichita, and I was like, I don't know what the history of Wichita is.
Yeah.
So I decided to kind of get into that a little bit more. Essentially, Wichita was at first when they built the railroad into Wichita, it became a cattle shipping hub. And the railroad was really what made Wichita itself kind of explode. Wichita State University has a really cool collection of historical photos. So I ended up looking at a whole bunch of those and, getting down and dirty with that. But then I wanted to know a little bit more about Goddard just because of that sighting that I had in Goddard. And I don't remember if I've told about that on this podcast yet, but leaving my parents' house one night, I saw like what I thought was actually a person, kind of dressed weird, but carrying something over their shoulder. And then as I got up, and it would have been like behind the person behind them as they were walking, I realized that the person would have had to have walked through a fence. And that's kind of when I realized that wasn't what I saw, wasn't what I thought I saw. Like, why is this drunk guy out walking in the middle of the night? So I got into Goddard history, and Goddard was actually a town. It ended up being created just because of the Homesteading Act. So you had a bunch of your immigrants and a bunch of your men in the service. They were moving there and moving their families there. Just because of, Homesteading Act, so free land. And then a little town called Blendon popped up about a mile and a half north of where Goddard is now. But then not long after the town itself, was kind of in full effect, the surveyor came to look at the path for the railroad to see where they wanted to build the railroad. Surveyor's name was J.F. Goddard, and he was also the vice president, general manager of Santa Fe Railroad Company, which back then was Atchison Topeka Santa Fe Railroad, but went by Santa Fe Railroad for short. So once they decided where they were going to put the railroad tracks, they ended up moving the town south to be closer to the railroad tracks. So Goddard had like a little train depot and all kinds of cool stuff there. So where I would have seen this person walking would have been walking the railroad tracks, where the railroad tracks used to be, which would make sense with whatever was slung over the shoulder, right? And just the clothing. The clothing was, I started looking at pictures of railroad workers, and it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Do you have any pictures that you can send? Oh,
I do have some that I can send over to you. But it was just really striking to me that it was kind of when I figured that out I knew that was what I saw.
That's crazy. You have the most, I swear you have the most sightings out of anyone I've ever talked to. You have sightings all the time.
I do.
You're just like really, really open. And
I look for it. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
So that's crazy that I love that you did that, because you found so are the tracks, they're not there anymore. The railroad tracks are not there. They're gone. So they basically picked them up and moved them?
So they just, that part of the railroad, they stopped using that part of the railroad. It was just abandoned. So they pulled the tracks up and they put in a hiking trail. So it's a 15-mile hiking trail that goes from Garden Plain. So it's Garden Plain into Wichita. So I would love to go walk that trail, because there's going to be some stuff there.
Can you bike it? Can you just bike it?
For sure.
So they basically, that's a really long trail for Kansas.
You're here.
I mean, but that's cool though, because I wonder if you could just bike it, and you could bike it in a few hours, and then I wonder if there's like some historical buildings, and
I think there's some landmarks along the way, but I definitely want to go spend some time there, just see, how it makes me feel, see what I see, hear what I hear.
Bring your camera.
Bring my camera, be super aware. Because I'm so open to that kind of thing. So I think that's why I have so many of those experiences.
I swear.
But I just thought that was cool.
You have a sighting like every other week, I swear.
Or just something kind of weird happened.
Yeah. Or just something weird. Yeah. Or you'll remember something that happened, but maybe it didn't happen that week, but you tell a story, I swear, like every other week about something weird that happened. You're like, oh, there's another one. Oh, I forgot about this one. And oh, this happened one time. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's fun. I'm so open-minded to that kind of thing. And I think that I'm so just mentally tired of what we all know and what we can prove. And I want there to be something different.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's so cool.
I like the thought of that.
I love that the digging into your hometown history, because instantly I'm thinking about like the little town that I grew up in Illinois, and I used to go to this cemetery, and there were some family members buried there, but they weren't by blood, they were just like by marriage, but anyway, I was the creepy kid that would go to the cemetery and walk around and look at all the headstones.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I just found it, I just see it as history, but I never had like any weird experiences there, but it was definitely a very old cemetery, like a very old farming community out on the prairie, like early 1800s, late 1700s, maybe like early 1800s, probably. Very old cemetery. And I always got sad, like I think it's very sad when you see like the all the children that didn't make it.
Yeah, vaccines, kids.
Yeah. That, and just childbirth, just so darn risky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But old cemeteries, super creepy. Makes me want to go find some
super cool though. I mean, I was talking to my mom about this, and she was like, oh, there's this cemetery in Wichita, and I could pinpoint, I knew when she said it, I knew exactly what she was going to be talking about. I think it's Maple something cemetery. It's on Hillside Street here in Wichita, but there's just, I get such a vibe when I drive past that place. Not even bad, just old. It's and then she was talking about how back in when we lived in Sedgwick, so just a little ways north of here, she found out that they had moved the cemetery, and it was really weird because the people who were living on the land that used to have the cemetery on it, they had all kinds of weird stuff happen.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So yeah, I gotta sit mom down with a bottle of wine, and we need to talk about some of the weird things that happen. See if she can drum up some of those memories. Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
She listens to us every week.
Yeah. Awesome. Hi, Mom. My mom doesn't. I'm tracking her. I know she's not. Someday she will, and she'll hear me talking about her. She's like, oh, you should have been listening.
Yeah. Like, you guys are weirdos. Why are you such weirdos?
It's okay. Well,
We like
okay, here's one. Did you ever go to the cemetery in Mentone? Did you ever?
I feel like I had to have, because wasn't it right by that park there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like kind of behind there, a little bit down the road, but
Yeah,
kind of behind there.
definitely.
I went there and did an investigation with a coworker one time. She had like we didn't have that much equipment. She had like an EVP thing on her phone, and we got spooked out and we left. But that was yeah. Anyway, I think that actually
Spooky's good.
That might have been my first actual like investigation.
Really?
Yeah, it was very short. You know,
Yeah.
it was like an hour. It was just like, oh, let's go do this. This is fun. But it was also because we were both into the spooky, and there were multiple sightings of ghosts in this hotel that we worked at. And yeah, so and even the guests would talk about the ghosts that they saw in that hotel.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
It was really cool. And I'll tell you off air which one it was. You probably know. I may have told you that before, but yeah, I don't want to throw them under the bus, but it's so freaking haunted.
Yeah.
It's so haunted. Yeah.
I love that.
When I was working at that hotel, the night auditor, he was very on the up and up, normal dude, you know, just get in there, do his bookkeeping late at night, go home. He was just the night auditor. That was his job full time. He was very boring.
Yeah.
And one time we were, my friend and I, we did the breakfast service, and we were talking about spooky stuff, and he goes, oh, and he overheard, because he came in back into the kitchen to get a cup of coffee, you know, and he overheard us, and he said, oh, I got a story for you. And we were like, what? It was one of those like, both of our heads just whip around like, what, you? And you're like the most black and white boring person ever. You know,
right?
His suit and his tie and every day, and we're like, oh, hello, listening, you know. And he told us the story about he was doing rounds, because that was part of his job, was he was like the night manager, you know. And so he would do the rounds every night after all the guests went to bed, and just to make sure that there were, you know, obnoxious teenagers running the halls and causing problems, you know. And because this hotel was pretty kind of remote, you know, there really was, like, you couldn't really walk anywhere. So it's kind of remote.
Yeah.
So he's out walking, doing his rounds, which took, you know, about an hour and a half to do. It's a pretty big hotel. And comes around the corner, gets off the elevator, walks off the elevator, and right to the left of him, around a corner, this figure is staring at him, and then just like slowly takes a step behind the post that he was standing behind, and just like backs away. So it was clearly like intelligent.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a recording of history or anything like that you see. This was an intelligent spirit. It saw it, and then it backed away like, oh, I don't want you to see me. And then the guy just stood there like, okay, that's a ghost. Okay. And he got back on the elevator, and he was just like, okay, I'm gonna go down to my office now. Done now. Done with rounds. But he said that the guy was wearing like he described exactly what he was wearing, you know, the color of a shirt, and he said he had corduroy pants on. Like, that was just very, very specific, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so as soon as my friend and I heard that, we would our shifts were pretty long, so we'd have this lull in the early afternoon, like late morning before lunch rush started. And so in between doing room service deliveries, we would go up to the attic because you could get up there like through, like you could go all the way up the elevator to the very top floor, and you could like walk down this hallway, and then there was like this storage area, and you could go up and this. It was super creepy. I don't know what we were thinking. We would go up there because they kept like dining room supplies up there, like forks and tablecloths, and I mean, you've seen them. You've seen a million of those. And so we were like, oh, we're gonna go get some bus tubs, or some forks, and we'd go up there for like 45 minutes and mess around with our EVP on our phone. And I don't even know if we got anything, but it was just something to do. We were trouble.
Yeah,
we were clearly trouble.
Nah, I'm curious.
Oh yeah, it was fun. Yeah, so yeah, I was hunting at work.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You got to have a little fun at work, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a fun place to work.
That was like, was it Red Sky that we worked at? Was it Red Sky that was super haunted, or was it Courtier that was somebody where
it's another place. I'll tell you later.
I don't remember. Probably all the places.
But I think that, but after I left some of those restaurants, I heard about, like, especially, I heard a lot of stories about some of the restaurants on mountain dining at Vail Resorts. And I'm sure you heard some of those too. And I think they increasingly got worse after I was up there. I kept getting trickle down stories. And I think people just know I love that kind of stuff. So they would tell me stuff. Like, oh, really? Tell me more. What happened? And some of the stuff was pretty darn creepy.
Yeah.
Pretty darn creepy. So, and some of the stories, like of course I wasn't there, obviously. It was secondhand. But the other thing is, like, why would this person just make up this totally random, bizarre story? And it was just so off the wall. It's like, I wouldn't even be able to come up with that. That's so bizarre.
Yeah, well, it's how you know that when stuff's wild, it's how you know it's true.
Yeah. One of the stories I am going to tell this one. This is creepy. So this was on one of the on mountain dining restaurants on the mountain, and I've talked about these before. We have to get up to a snowcat, whatever. So the sous chefs would go up on snowmobiles to get started, early, to get stock started and food started before the crew get up there. So I think it was, I don't know if this happened like, I know what it was. This one chef had closed the night before. He was working a clopen. He had to close down. He was the last person that left. He was on the sleigh. He left. He locked up. No one else was there. It's just impossible. Nobody was there. What are you going to do? Like, ride a snowmobile up at 2:00 in the morning and break in, and like, it just, nobody's doing that. Everybody's going home to go to sleep because days are long. So he was the last person to leave. He locks up. He's the key holder, obviously. Comes back the next morning, barely got sleep. It was like probably during the holidays, like maybe got 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Gets back the next morning at 7 a.m. or whatever to open up. And the back door had been barricaded with boxes from the inside.
What?
And they were neatly stacked all the way across the front, all the way across the back loading dock door. And he had to like kick them open to get in. And he was just like, what the hell? I left here like 5 hours ago. There's no way that there was anybody still in here.
That's bizarre. That's weird.
So that was one story. And yeah, that was super creepy. And then there were other stories about people at that same restaurant that had, like, I think there was one wedding and someone had had a heart attack or something. It was terrible. Like one of the guests had an incident and they had to get him down off the mountain or whatever. I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what happened, but they would say that in the years that followed, people kept reporting that there was a ghost there, that it would like walk through the line and like shake all the pans and knock stuff down off the counter. And they kind of chalked it up to, they thought it was this guest that was like stuck or lost. He was up on the mountain. He didn't know what happened and was trying to get somebody's attention. And that story is just kind of sad, I think. But yeah, but those buildings are creepy.
Yeah.
Those restaurants they're beautiful, but they're also really creepy.
Oh, we love creepy stuff though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think there's some really cool things in town, or places here in town that would be good to go do some little ghosty hunting. I think that a girl I used to work with, Chloe, she's the one who likes our podcast. Hi, Chloe. Chloe would be fun to go with on some adventures. But yeah, I wish we were closer. Because we would have a lot of fun.
Well, we're gonna make it happen somehow.
We are gonna make it happen. Do you know that I started my day off today with My Favorite Murder on Netflix?
I saw that.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. It gives such another layer of awesomeness to them when you can just watch them. Oh, I love it.
Wait,
so
they're okay. So hold on, they're on Netflix. Are they? Do they have like a series or what is it now?
So they're just doing their podcast live.
Oh, it's live.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Like this can be us.
Well, did I have to tell you that I got my hydrocal from the online shipping service so we can make casts.
What?
My
Hydrocal?
It's plaster. I got plaster so we can make casts. You're like, what? You got a what? You got a hydro cat? What?
A water buffalo.
I got a water buffalo. I got a hydro cat. No, hydrocal. We can make plaster casts.
Heck yeah.
So that, and clearly I got some propane.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know,
propane's good.
But since it's the great Icepacolypse of 2026, we're not going anywhere right now because it's like really cold and
yeah, it is really cold. It got, oh gosh, it was negative like 3 or something here today. But I was working the other night and we had a negative 12-degree wind chill, and yeah, it was kind of a nightmare. I don't mind driving in that stuff because I know how to drive in that stuff, but I worry about other people and their just inability to drive like a normal human being with any concern for safety or anyone else's life. But it's I loved it. It was nice. I like to be out and about when it's snowy. It's beautiful and quiet.
Somebody had a car accident in our parking lot today, so I'm like, I'm not driving anywhere. I'm just gonna give it another 24 hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's been so nice to just not have to feel like I have to have a purpose. And although I do have to admit I'm starting to get a little bit stir crazy, like 3 days inside is not normal for me anymore. So I got a little just, I don't know, I gotta get out. I'm gonna go work tomorrow, I think. But
yeah, I think I'm trying to do I got some training that I have to do for my other job, so I'm just trying to knock it out right now because it's like, okay, well, I got to be home right now. I'm just going to get on the computer and do this stuff, and it's kind of like focused attention to get this stuff out of the way because my got to make money. But I definitely want to plan our first camping adventure or something, and we've been talking a little bit between ourselves about what to do, and we got a lot of ideas, but we just kind of have to pick something and make it happen somehow. Or pick a couple of things. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that and trying to figure that out. And I also worked on a pretty cool podcast spreadsheet that I made AI make for me.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. I used up all my credits for ChatGPT. But so I have to go back to it tomorrow and finish it. But then I'll upload it to Google and we can collab on it. I think it'll just make it a little bit easier, more of like a project management kind of a thing. So
yeah, absolutely.
So that was something I worked on today, and then just getting ready to go to Colorado pretty soon and work and see my family and just get back to the state that I love. And God, I miss it. Yeah, I miss it.
I'm so excited for you. I am very impressed by your ability to make that happen so fast, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah.
Excellent job. Excellent.
And also my endeavor to make it happen more permanently to go back. So I'm pretty excited about that. So
yeah,
it'll be a bumpy, curvy, windy, convoluted road, but I'll get there somehow.
I'll get there.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah,
as long as you have that drive,
Yeah. Well, what kind of a vessel shall we park?
Well, before we park the vessel,
Okay.
couple things. I have a present for you.
A present? I get a present? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. I'm
check
so
this
excited.
out.
Okay.
Look at the chat.
Oh no. Is it a penis?
No.
Darn it. Hold on. Look at the chat.
Oh.
Messages. Okay, it's gonna load. Oh my god. Oh, that is awesome. I'm downloading this right now. Oh my, are they roasting?
I don't know, man. We're paddling down the river with ladles, and there are two of them. I sent them both to you in an email. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I thought that was a blast. I had a lot of fun with
I'm
that.
trying to open it. Oh, hold on.
Also,
this is the barbecue thing.
this is our vehicle.
I see it.
we
It's
landed
so
last
tiny.
week.
I can't see it. Hold on. I gotta blow this thing up. It won't open. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I gotta open it. Oh my god. How in the hell did you do this? This is
Chat, man.
Okay, this
Chat.
my friends, is our podcast episode cover art. This is genius. I'm going to describe this. It's us, and you got the images right. We're in a river of barbecue sauce or something.
Yeah.
And we're floating in a rack of ribs. And
just in case. There's soup spoons or ladles.
Oh, there's soup spoons. Oh, yeah. They're like weird soup spoons. And there's an umbrella.
There's an umbrella. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to post this one visually, but I did share.
Oh, we have
to.
We have to. And you're in charge of our art from now.
Isn't that great? I had so much fun with that, and I wanted to send it to you so bad, but yeah.
How did you do that in ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Do you have to have see, I just need to use that because I've been using Canva for art, and sometimes it's kind of weird, but it's pretty good. But
yeah,
this is
pretty good stuff, huh?
Love it. Oh my god,
I'm glad you do.
Oh,
it was fun.
I love it.
And I love it. I don't know how to stop sharing my screen. Usually there's a bar up top, but there's not a bar up top.
Under the more with the 3 dots.
I got it.
It's awesome. Genius.
So yeah, I thought that was a really good time.
Okay, well, all right. So you'll have to do some art for this one for next time.
Yeah.
So I wanted us to land a Zamboni.
A Zamboni. Yes, we can do that for sure.
We can park the Zamboni, but I don't think we're just on like a hockey rink.
No,
we
we're on a Texas road down in Alaska.
Yeah, like a really long flat road with there's got to be like some HEBs. There's a pile of bread and milk everywhere.
Okay.
And because I don't know why everyone bought all the bread and milk here.
Oh my gosh, that's like they're sitting at home with their bread and banana and milk sandwiches.
I mean, milk sandwiches. That's so weird. Or French toast. Are you making French toast like every day for the next 3 meals a day? I don't know. But yeah, so we're definitely driving a Zamboni. I'll leave the rest to you. But
yeah, so good.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah. And I did just want to say, I know that things are really shitty in our country right now. And just let people know that this is a place where you can come and laugh and giggle, but at the same time, just be cautious, be aware, be kind, and be courteous to everyone.
Be kind. Spread
World
kindness.
needs it.
Spread kindness.
And we've gotten too far from the make love not war, and let's bring that shit and tie-dye back. I got my tie-dye on.
Oh yeah, tie-dye for sure.
Beam me up, squatchy tie-dye. And also, I did have a umbrella in my bowl of fruit, so just to be in spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love it. Oh yes. Spread
all right, everybody.
Spread joy and drive a Zamboni.
Drive a Zamboni
with style,
and don't forget to bring a towel.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for listening to another great episode. Be sure and like, share, or follow this podcast by leaving a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. If you have an experience you'd like to share, be sure and reach out to verbalecho@gmail.com. If you know someone who'd like to tell their story, please send them our way. I want to talk to them. No guardrails. Have a great week, friends. See you in the next episode.